Hello, welcome back to the PoddiMouths podcast. I am Peyton Cubic, and this is where my dad and his friend Jon talk about random stuff in life or the things they found on the internet. I hope you enjoy listening to this episode as much as I did. Here they are now.
Whatever you did, the opposite thing is happening.
Oh, it's too loud now.
It's too loud now. Yeah.
Well, I can turn it down. Probably.
No, don't worry about it. It's fine. Just
okay.
don't.
You know, I'm very.
You just get so excited.
I
you get so excited. John and I were talking about how old we're getting. Yeah, it's happy hour. Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers to you. Cheers Ching. To all our viewers. Dink and Dink. Listeners.
And listeners. Oh, got it. Maple old fashioned. Nummy.
Milagro chilled tequila with a follow up of a Modelo Especial. My hand is huge.
Your hand is huge.
It's a 7-ounce bottle. That's right.
Awesome. That's really cool.
I know, it's so cool. I got a case of them. So, what do you have a case of? The 7-ounce bottles.
I thought I had a case of crabs once, but I counted. There were only 11.
So, not a full case.
Right.
Excellent. That's why we're so happy.
So, John, why are we old today?
Oh, my gosh. All right. I brought along something for show and tell.
Oh, you did?
This is
what I need to go get mine too?
No, you don't. I don't think so. This is what you wear over your shoulder when you screw up your
rotator cuff.
Rotator cuff.
Yeah.
Or rotator cup, as some people used to say. Rotator cuff.
I've known people like that.
Yeah.
Good job, John. Good job.
Yeah, I go in for an MRI a week from today. So
Amira? Miri. Yes. Yeah.
So we'll find out what to do after that. But yes, but lifting weights and we were talking a little bit before the show that it wasn't a stupid way. I've prided myself in not getting injured as I've gotten older, because you see people trying to do crazy weights and this is, for some people, maybe it sounds like a lot, but it's the max I do. It's 225 pounds. And it's a bench press on a Smith machine, so there are safety things built in. You hook them, hook it in so it doesn't smash you, which
you hook them
incidentally
horns?
Is what I did. I hooked the horns.
Thought you were in Texas, not Florida. I mean, other way around.
It's whatever. I did 8 reps.
Uh-huh.
And again, it's the max weight I do. And then I hooked it, and that was fine. And then I did some curls, and I got back down to the bench press and did 2 reps. And all of a sudden I heard in my right shoulder, and it didn't hurt, but I had no strength left. And so as it's falling down on me, thank God I was on the Smith machine. I just clicked it back and it latched in. There was about a foot of space. And I'm like sideways, sliding under the damn barbell. And then I casually walked over and pulled off all the plates. And I had the thought, okay, maybe I can just go with, the lower weight, 40, so it's 45, buck 35. Let me just do 135 and maybe I'll be okay. And
no,
happily I didn't.
Yikes.
So anyway, got on the treadmill, spent 20 minutes shaking my head and left and went to the doctor and yada, yada. So MRI on Friday and we'll see how badly I've messed it up. Getting old. It's
getting old. Getting old sucks.
Delightful.
Yeah.
Cheers to getting old.
Cheers to getting
Everybody.
old. Tink.
Tink.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Milagro. Yeah. Modelo.
That's really what you need to do when you've hurt yourself. Just drink more.
How bad can it be? I have pain pills, but I haven't used any. I'm self-medicating.
Yes. That's the way it should be, damn it.
Now let's talk about yours.
Yeah,
what's yours?
So I think, and to be fair, I kind of had an inkling, but recently it's gotten a little bit worse. We've been doing a lot of yard work, which, for me is not necessarily that much fun because I hate yard work. I don't, it's weird. We've talked about this probably a million times, whether it was on the podcast or not. I don't know. I just don't know.
It's okay.
But I don't mind going out in nature and doing things. I don't even mind, I'm going to put it in quotes, farm work. I don't mind that stuff.
Yes.
But for some reason, I hate doing yard work. It's trying to, do all that. But anyway, So I noticed I got a pain in my general groinish area.
Yep.
So I think not a good one. I think I may have not doing the yard work. Yeah. I think I may have re-injured my my hernia, plural, because I had multiple.
Yes, you did.
I think I have a feeling I did it moving some of the flooring for Jen's studio. Don't tell her that. Jen, I hope you're not listening.
She's not.
Yeah. Oh, she's not. No. But yeah, that's where I think I probably did it, but it wasn't bad enough until recently. Now I'm walking around going, ugh. But here's the thing, John. I'm not 100% sure. I do need to go to the doctor to find out, because whenever it's bothering me there, my back is also hurting.
Oh,
so I don't know if, because I when I first had the surgery, the doctor did say your back on one of your sides is probably going to be tender. It's probably going to hurt a little bit. Now this was several years ago, so I don't know why it still would be. But yeah, my lower back on that side hurts as well whenever I'm feeling
crap.
Yeah, so I don't know. We'll see. I'll have to, like you, I'll have to go to the doctor and find out.
Wow.
But yeah, I'm not looking forward to that one. No one is. I will be a bad patient because I probably won't do anything about it for several years before.
Oh, why don't you just can't they do it so it's done?
Yes, they should. Only about 10% of people re-injure their hernia.
Oh,
but I had 3, so it's
high achiever.
High achiever, yeah. So I don't know, and it might not be. But if it is, the reason I'm going to wait is because I just don't have time. I don't. Yeah. It took me a month to recover from the last one.
Yep.
So I'm not. I can't afford to do that right now.
Well, or just wear a nice. What do they call them? Chastity belts.
Yeah, they look like that.
I'm sorry, I'm all locked up here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you could wear something like that.
Yep.
Tell people it's a holster and they won't mess with you.
They won't mess with me.
No.
It could double as one too.
Could. I'm not sure how big a gun you could put in there.
Oh, buddy.
It's one of those little shooters.
Exactly.
Speaking of us laughing at the same time, which happens occasionally on this podcast if you're just joining us for the first time.
And if you are just joining us for the first time, go up to YouTube and look at the last thumbball, because that was us laughing at the same time.
That is the one that I have a picture of us with both of our heads thrown back laughing. It's such a funny picture that I'm sure it wasn't that funny, but you and I tend to make it look even better.
Well, I mean, can you blame? I mean, look at how good we look no matter what.
Well, I'm sure that's why a lot of the ladies tune in.
Absolutely.
That's why audio only.
Well, I always tell people I have a face for radio and a voice for silent film.
Perfect. Yes, and that's what it is. But anyhow,
it really is.
All good and fun to laugh. It's good to laugh especially when you have hernias and rotator cuff injuries.
Yeah.
Good
now
gracious.
one of us needs to tear our ACL and we'll be all
No, I plan on sitting on my butt on this chair. I'm not going to tear anything. I might tear the fabric of the chair when I get up. That's about it.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I don't think so either. So a maple old fashioned.
Maple old fashioned.
That sounds delicious.
It is. I call it my healthier old fashioned.
Yes.
Because it's not real sugar, it's maple syrup. So I just, instead of putting the cube of sugar or any sugar, I just put maple syrup in there instead. And it's very good.
What brand is the whiskey or whatever the bourbon, whatever you have in there?
I don't remember the name.
That's okay.
It's a newer one. It is a bourbon, but it actually tastes a little bit more rye-ish than bourbonish.
Oh, okay. And tell me the rye. You know what? And I've had rye. Mm-hmm. I've had everything. But what is it taste-wise to you that differentiates the rye from a bourbon, for example?
I'm going to say, for me, a rye is a little bit more bitter, whereas a bourbon is a little more sweet.
Okay.
To me, that's my flavor profile.
Sounds fair.
I could be completely. And speaking of, I haven't listened to it yet, but I did find a podcast that's all about bourbon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are more than one.
Oh, I'm sure, but this one was recommended to me on the app.
Oh, cool.
So let me, while you do
please.
your wonderful filler.
Yep. Da 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 da.
You're so good.
Da 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 da.
Spotify starts with an S, right?
Wow, this won't take long.
No,
yeah, it's good during happy hour on PoddiMouths.
I bet you. Okay, you want to know what the name of this podcast is? You'll never guessed.
Okay, Bourbon.
Yep, Bourbon Podcast.
Shut up. That's pretty funny. Holy crap! I would use a descriptive word like, I don't know, bourbon.
Well, it's funny. I was looking at we get these magazines in the mail, the catalogs, not catalog. There's kind of a cross between a magazine and a catalog. It's not really
Playboy
a magazine.
Or Penthouse? What are you talking about?
Neither. No.
Oh, okay.
We'll get to that later. It's called the Home Mag, HOMEMAG, Home Mag, and so it's a magazine, but it's all advertisements for different service providers. If you want to get your roof done, or you want to put a porch in your house, or it's all about houses,
local,
and things like that. Local,
yeah,
exactly. And I was looking at that the other day, and I saw something. As marketers, we're going to really appreciate this. I saw something come up, and it was that the name of the company was A1 something, like A1 gutters or something like that.
They used to do.
Like they used to do.
Yeah.
And folks, if you don't know this, people would come up with their business names, so they would come up first in the phone book. So what comes first in the alphabet? A. What comes first with numbers? 1. A1. So there used to be a lot of companies that were called A1 blah, blah, blah.
Or Aardvark.
Or Aardvark or something like
with
that.
2 A's. A1 Aardvark Advertising or something like that. And
exactly.
That was how they used to do it to get to the front of the line. The first ones in the phone book, which is essentially like positioning in a search engine. I mean, that's really what it is. It's the
done
same
differently.
Thing.
Yeah. And it's kind of, I almost feel bad for that company, because they probably, if they're that old, and I'm doing a very broad generalization here, but if they're that old, they probably don't know that when it comes to search engines, they're probably not doing it right. They're probably still relying on the fact that,
Although if you've been in business for a long time, rather than changing your name, you would, but still, hopefully they're doing some search engine optimization, so it puts them in a good position, regardless of the name. Because search engine world, it doesn't matter. If
it doesn't matter what your name is.
Aardvark air conditioning or whatever, it doesn't matter.
Even though it's a really cool name, or like Bourbon Podcast.
You know what? Bourbon Podcast is good. I would say that aardvarks were largely unappreciated until somebody finally came up with that. They were.
Aardvarks and anteaters, I think,
not good. You could see them in some cartoons, but other than that, that was it. Come here, Rent. That was the aardvark's voice, who would chase the ant.
You're so good.
That was like the Pink Panther cartoon series, whatever that whole production unit was. That was part of the Pink Panther.
Yeah. So,
and
this is timely because you're talking about the Pink Panther.
I am.
In the movies, the actual movies, and not the original, but the remakes, it was Steve Martin. Steve Martin was Clouseau.
After Peter
Sellers.
Sellers was the original guy.
Yep. And so, but we walk around the house because Peyton saw those movies.
Yeah.
And one of the lines that for those of you who have seen the movie, one of the famous lines from the Steve Martin version is "Bergal." I'd like an
Bergal.
Bergal. So anytime we talk about having hamburgers around the house, it's
funny.
I want an Bergal. But the reason it's timely is because there's a new documentary out about Steve Martin and his rise in comedy, or his rise through comedy. And I started it and watched half of the first part because there's only 2 parts to it. And it was actually a very good documentary so far and very interesting. And I would say if I were young again, like my 20s, 30s, and met him, I would be almost afraid of him on the road. Not as a comedian, but he just seems to have that personality that I would probably avoid in the real world.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. I look, I have followed him not closely because I think, I'm not sure, but I think he has kind of pulled back over latter years. But when he first came on the scene, he was nothing but a stand-up comedian, who was incredibly funny. If you look at his earliest albums, and they were albums, they were record albums before even video became a thing. But Are You Small, I think was or Let's Get Small or something like that was the first one, or one of the first ones. And he had the Walk Like an Egyptian or something like that, whatever it was called. Yep. Something about King Tut. That's what it was.
King Tut.
Oh my gosh. And just funny stuff, funny bits that he did. And I can still refer to several of them today. But then watch him, what an actor in Roxanne. He was so good in that. And of course,
he's good in pretty much everything he's in. Maybe except the amazing part. Three Amigos.
He was actually good at that.
He was. It was I'm funny. Sorry. It's a great movie. I watch it. We just watched it with Peyton about a month and a half ago.
Yes.
It's
so stupid, but it's hilarious because it is. Lisa has been watching the one with Martin Short and him and
Murders in the Building.
Oh my
Selena
gosh.
Gomez.
Lisa, I just hear her laughing her butt off in the other room when I'm trying to do work, which means probably on my 10th game of Free Cell.
I was going to say watching YouTube instead of watching Murders in the Building.
YouTube, yes. But she, and I haven't watched, I guess I watched one with her.
You should watch it.
It was hilarious.
It is hilarious. It's a great show. It's going into, I think it's third or fourth season. Whatever season it is.
At least three, I think.
I think it's going to be its last season.
Okay.
I think I could have that wrong.
They're just so funny and good together.
Good. Yes,
and it's just a funny sitcom essentially is what it is. But anyway, he's just so talented, and he has done appearances. I want to say, is it gosh, I can't remember if it was on with Fallon or even. I mean, obviously he was on with Johnny Carson too back in those days, but he was putting on a show like the camera's following him, like I can't believe they're calling me out already, and he's talking, and let's say it was Jimmy Fallon, and he said, "Well, you are a terrific banjo player," so I'll go get it. I'll be right back. And the camera follows him back to his dressing room. He grabs the banjo, takes it all the way out, and they watch him, and he goes, and that's it. He doesn't play any more than that. And he takes it back, and the camera follows him. It's just, he's just a funny guy. And,
he is
extraordinarily talented.
What you'll see and I won't give the whole thing away, but what you see in the documentary is he actually started out as a magician.
Oh yeah,
that's what he wanted to be, a magician. So it's very interesting, and all of it started it working at Disney. But
tell me about the personality thing. Why would you say that if you were young today, you'd be? I
saw some video of him recording, and I was just like, ugh, that's the type of person that my generation has grown up to say, yeah, that's someone who's either going to be very famous, which he is, or he's going to be a mass murderer.
So just tough to work with, would you say?
No,
or what?
No. Just, I don't know. Just that you have to watch it and just see. It's just like,
no, I'm counting on you. You're giving me the ability to not watch it. I should. So good at this.
I'm not really good at this part of it. Trying to describe people because I don't want to be.
Doesn't matter. He's not listening.
It does matter.
It's fair to say.
No. It's not that.
Although maybe if you piss him off, maybe he will start listening. So go at it. No, bigger than shit.
I have a specific opinion about people, and I will be the first to say that my first impression of people is almost always wrong.
Which explains why we did this podcast.
Exactly. Well, let me put it this way. I have a first impression of people. I always give people a second chance to make a first impression.
Okay.
And a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times people will surprise me and we become very, very close. Mm-hmm. I have a lot of friends that when I first met them, I'm like, ooh, I don't know if I want to even talk to this person.
I liked you instantly, which is kind of freaking me out right now. But
see, I didn't like you instantly. No, I'm kidding.
What? You did too.
Yeah, you and I were. That was definitely. I'm not saying I always have a bad feeling about people. Sometimes I have a good impression of people,
and then it's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was nice too.
So 6 years later. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ooh, you know what? We're missing.
Mine's gone.
I don't know if you are missing it in your household, but I'm definitely missing it in my household.
What's that?
A bartender. We're sitting here doing a podcast. I'm almost done with my drink. I would literally have to stop the podcast.
Oh no!
Walk all the way downstairs, make myself another drink, walk all the way back upstairs and start the podcast. And I'm not going to do that. I almost made a double, but I was worried about the room in the glass.
All I can tell you is, when you get older, like some people on this podcast, you'll know to bring plenty with you.
Yes,
bring the dang bottle.
I've done that before. I know. I should have.
Well,
or at least brought a beer up with me after.
Well, I was going to say, did we make it through the podcast when I brought the whole bottle.
No, I have. I didn't drink any after that. I remember that.
If you go down and get your bottle, and I will sit here and entertain our wonderful audience.
It's okay. I'm good.
I'm not sure, because I think you're on a roll, and people are going to say, if it goes anywhere but up from here, Nick
it's not going to go up from here.
More liquor.
I should, if I was a truly good father, I'd text my daughter right now, who's sitting on the couch downstairs, and tell her to bring me a
Please,
beer
honey,
or something. Yeah.
Would you do me a favor and do it?
But I'm not a very good father, so
do it.
I wouldn't ask her to do something like that.
She would be so happy to help you.
Oh God, no! She would go. Her eyes would roll in the back of her head. And,
here's what you do. Well, of course that will happen. That doesn't matter. But here's what you do: you text her and say, "Uncle John asked if you would be so kind."
That's going to be really confusing for her, because she actually has an Uncle John.
Damn it!
Spelled differently, of course.
Well, the wrong way, yes.
Right.
With too many letters. You just tell her friend John is asking or requesting that she be kind enough to bring you a beer so you can show it on the camera.
Yeah, she would be confused. But let's seriously.
Which is, honestly, I love confused bartenders.
Yeah, right? Those are the best kind, especially when you're confused about your bill.
Your
depending
bill is
on the
one
bill.
thing, but as long as they're not confused about your, sexuality, then it's fine.
Yeah, truth bomb.
Just saying. Boom.
Okay, so serious part of that conversation, which is very interesting, because Peyton is 13 years old. We all know that.
She is. We all know that.
At 13, and you tell me, because I have a feeling you're probably similar. When I was 13 and young, even a little bit younger, I was the designated bartender.
Really?
I used to make drinks for if we had a party, I would be the drink getter. Not necessarily. I mean, nothing complicated. Like, I wasn't slinging martinis or anything, but I would go get someone a glass of wine or get them a beer out of the fridge, or
You're an underachiever. Is that what you're telling me?
I was an underachiever, exactly.
Yes. Right.
Or things that a gin and tonic. I could make a gin and tonic. I mean, it's gin and
at
tonic.
13.
Oh, sure, that's sure.
And you did?
Well, of course.
See, this is why I would have loved your parents. And I don't mean this in a bad way.
No, I mean, most people I knew, my friends, were all doing that for their parents.
See,
it wasn't unusual.
I am a big fan of my parents, but other than grabbing a Ham's beer from the downstairs fridge, that was the closest I ever got to any of that. And Mom was not a drinker. I think she had wine probably when she was 60. I think she had her first glass of wine. And so, there was not much of that. But Dad would have an occasional inexpensive beer, if you know what I mean. And that's Ham's or Old Milwaukee.
Yeah, there was no such thing as inexpensive liquor in my house.
Oh, no. Well, and see, that's the beauty of it.
Yeah. Well, and I can relate now. I know that's where I draw the line. It's like, okay,
I don't want the cheap stuff.
No, there's no reason. I don't drink enough. I want to enjoy it when I do. I don't drink to get drunk.
I don't drink enough. Is that what you said?
I don't drink enough. I really don't. I should drink more.
Honestly, that's what a lot of people say.
I hear them every day. They say that man needs to drink more.
He needs to drink more. Yes.
There's an anxiety thing there that I think we can take care of.
We could fix that with some Milagro.
Every time you start that, I think you're going to say Miller Lite.
I'm not. But let's talk that Miller Lite for a moment, because the 7-ounce Modelito.
Ding.
Do you see that?
Ding.
If you understand, hold on. If you understand, I already dinged it, I think. It's not Modelo. It's Modelito.
It's Modelito.
And I have a good friend who used to speak Spanish from time to time.
Used to speak Spanish.
Well, I used to.
She doesn't speak Spanish anymore.
She's a friend who I think forgot everything she knows about Spanish.
Okay. All right.
Just kidding. But she's Hispanic, and she taught me that anything tiny is ito at the end. So Juanito, I became Juanito when I was tiny because I was never tiny, and she said it as a joke.
Gotcha.
But Modelo is one thing. Modelito is a small Modelo, and this is 7 ounces. And there used to be something called Miller Shorties.
Yeah.
And they were Miller High Life 7-ounce bottles that we used to get in an 8-pack, not a 6-pack, but an 8-pack. And this was, of course, after I was of the legal drinking age.
No.
And we would grab
which in Wisconsin, when you were young, is what, 18?
18. That's correct. And they sort of grandfathered us all the way through because it became 19 and then 21 and so on. But
folks, I hope you feel bad for me. I'm a little bit, not much, but a little bit younger than John.
A lot younger.
I had to drive to Canada to be able to drink at 18.
Sad part was you lived in Texas, so that was a long drive.
Hey, I know people who grew up in Texas that used to drive to Canada, not necessarily to drink, but yeah.
I'm not sure why. Oh, no, I'm going to leave that alone. That so the Modelito reminds me of those 7-ounce shorties. It was the same size of beer, and we used to. Some people used to, not I, but some used to open the windows of their cars in the country in Wisconsin and take those 7-ounce empty Miller Shorties and whip them at road signs on the way by. So if you're ever in Wisconsin and you happen to see broken, sometimes shattered, sometimes not, 7-ounce Miller Shorties bottles by a road sign, I may have known some of the people who did that.
I would hope that they're not still on the ground.
Because I'm sure the dinosaurs ate them by this time. But it was just a funny memory because honestly, my old 1969 Buick LeSabre going over these hills of these country roads, and you go, roadside, whip. Some friends of mine told me that's what happened.
Right. And you never partook in any of those shorties when you were the one driving, right?
Mostly they would call me later on my house phone and tell me what happened. So I feel like I have a clear picture of it.
What really happened is they called you because you were their sober cab and you went to pick them up, and it just happened that you saw them do it while you were driving them home in a very safe and responsible manner, right?
No. Anyway.
What is the statute of limitations on that?
Yeah, I know. I'm not sure we've reached it, so I had no knowledge of any of that.
No knowledge.
Oh my gosh.
I can neither confirm nor deny.
That any of that happened. But how funny. And truly it was, I saw these and I'm going, oh, these are 7-ounce of a light beer. Oh yeah, I'm all over it. It was hilarious. So yes, brought back some memories, and some were delightful for friends of mine who did that.
For me, I have to say, whenever tequila and memories enter the conversation, it's never a good memory.
No. Well, that's why it was not tequila back then. I had not
the
ever
beer?
touched tequila. It was the beer.
Yeah.
Again, it was Wisconsin. Hello. It's not like beer wasn't served for communion.
it wasn't.
I think
right.
communion, as I recall.
Communion, water or bubblers. Sorry, bubblers.
Bubblers.
Yeah.
Water fountains, yes.
There's three places I associate with beer in the United States.
Okay.
Wisconsin as a whole, St. Louis, and Denver.
Yeah.
Well, not Denver per se, but
Coors.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is no longer in Denver. Well, I mean it is, but it's headquartered in Wisconsin.
It is, but didn't it used to be like Golden, Colorado?
Golden, Colorado, yes.
And I loved Golden when we lived in
beautiful.
Denver for a mere 6 months. We went to a restaurant that we just loved there, and it was, and that's what I remember Golden for. It was decorated, especially around Christmas time. Oh my gosh, it was just so beautiful. I wish I could remember the name of it, but it was. I have no idea if it's still there because it was, let's just say, in the 90s,
right,
or 80s.
So long ago. No, I have a good friend that lives in Golden, and I mean, it's beautiful. And
beautiful
when
area.
we were talking about moving west, it was before I knew that this particular friend lives in Golden. We were looking at Golden, and then we found out that this particular friend lives in Golden.
After
we, I could go so many places with that I just choose not
you're
to.
Welcome to.
I don't want to. Oh, careful.
I'm fine. I'm wearing a helmet. If honestly, if I were a better swimmer, it's entirely possible that I would
drown.
Identify as.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
Yeah. Because
so you listen to that podcast too?
Which one?
That one.
How to be a female swimmer if you're a dude?
No, the Joe. Did we talk about that? We did talk about that on the last podcast, right?
Which?
Our last podcast. Why are you so confused? We should never give this man tequila.
You are talking in circles, my friend.
That's what a good politician does.
Yes, I know.
Vote for me, folks.
No, please don't. Jeez.
No, it wasn't the last Joe Rogan. It's been several.
Yes.
But Joe Rogan had a champion swimmer on who actually comes from Nashville. She went to Kentucky though. Who was talking about that particular topic.
Yeah.
And it's probably the same.
Has been the most outspoken. Was she the one you're talking about?
She was the one.
Oh, Riley Gaines. She's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So that's what I was equating that conversation to that other conversation.
Well played.
So see, not as confusing as you thought it was.
But it feels like it was. I'm sure our listeners and viewers are going, agony.
I am
who's walking right now.
He is so confused.
He's walking.
He doesn't know which way he could be walking backwards.
In circles.
We don't know.
No, in circles.
In circles. Okay. So you're giving him more credit than I'm giving him, obviously.
People are saying to him, Bill, are you listening to the PoddiMouths again? Yes.
That's why I'm walking in circles.
Guilty pleasure.
Guilty.
And another guy I talked to this week, Marty, that you and I used to work with.
Okay. Last name starts with an S?
It does.
Okay.
And yes, he is doing well and wondered why we haven't invited him on the podcast. And I said, because we know you. And
I'm glad you said that because that's exactly what I was thinking. I do too.
You know what?
He
is just so Marty, if you're listening, and apparently he is occasionally.
I didn't know that. That's fantastic.
Yes, that is cool. He and I had such a funny experience at San Antonio when we were on a company trip. Oh man.
Really?
It was just a fire alarm in the middle of the night at the hotel.
What is with Texas and fire alarms at hotels in the middle of the night?
I couldn't believe it. It was like 4 a.m. and excuse me, the fire alarm. And this has happened to me. You know, you understand this. You stay in enough hotels, this is going to happen. It has happened to me, honestly, no less than 5 times. Middle of the night, fire alarms start blaring, and you go,
what were you smoking?
Not me. Oh, my gosh. It just happens so often. Oh, it's a false alarm. Oh, I should have known that at 4 a.m. or 2 a.m. Or I should have known it was a false alarm. Seriously. Anyway, that was one of those nights, and we had a really funny story. So we should probably have Marty on for...
We should. Well, there's
45 seconds.
About that. That's
And he's a good guy. He's just hilarious. He makes me laugh. But anyway,
he's funny.
It'd be fun.
He honestly could be a comedian. He really could be.
He probably should be. He and Steve Martin could travel together.
Yeah, definitely. I think
And
he's
that would
already
make
got
both of them laugh.
He's already got someone who's of a certain stature who's travels around with him and does concerts.
I don't even
also named Marty.
Oh,
also named Marty.
Got it. Okay, now I'm
Yeah.
good. Martin,
you figured
Martine.
it out. Good, Martine.
I did. Well done.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
What else do we have?
Nothing. Never
Really?
anything really.
Is that it?
Oh,
Wow, that's never stopped us. I mean, we're
No.
not even 40 minutes in.
Well, I'm
you know
thirsty.
what that means.
I've got lots of water over here. I'll put water in my glass.
If we need to reload you, that's fine.
No, because by the time I get done, we'll have used way too much of our listeners' time, and no one will.
Look, can we just agree that we always use too much of our listeners' time?
We talked
honestly.
for 5 minutes. It's too much of our listeners'
Yeah, and they're
time.
like, okay, I'm done. Yes, but I hope that's not vodka because you're truly messed up already.
No, it's tequila. It's Blanco.
So
let's talk about tequila. So obviously you're drinking Blanco.
It's a silver actually.
Okay.
And it is de agave silver.
Okay.
At least that's what the bottle claims.
What's your favorite tequila?
Honestly, this is probably one of my top.
Okay.
The other is it's a Don Pablo 70.
Okay. 70 years or 70 proof?
I don't know. It's just 70 is what I know. And that's very good. So this one and that one are similar in that they're very smooth and they have no bite at all.
Interesting. That's brand wise, that good to know about the brand. That wasn't my question. I'm sorry I wasn't clear enough.
Sorry.
So there are three main types of tequila.
Oh, yes.
There's Blanco.
Yes.
There's the middle one, which I can't remember.
Okay.
And Añejo.
Okay. This would be Blanco in that it's clear.
Right.
Also Blanco meaning white.
White. Yep.
Which is
you got to say it with the H.
clear.
White.
White. Correct.
Yeah. I can't remember the middle one. Reposado.
Reposado. That's very good. Wow. Good for you.
That's the middle one.
I've seen it.
Añejo is the one that's aged and is usually aged in barrels, which gives it a little bit of an amber color.
They're all from agave.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
No.
I think it is. It's not correct.
I don't know.
I'm not sure. This one is. I know that because it says so.
Yeah.
But I know when I taste it, if it's, and I'm not a big tequila guy, but I tend to like them. Matt likes tequila, our buddy Matt, and my buddy Matt.
You're right. Okay. Gotcha. Picking up what
Matt.
Our Matt.
My Matt.
Yeah. Our Matt doesn't like tequila.
Yes, I know, but he hasn't really given it a shot.
He's given too many shots, I think. Sorry.
That's it.
Sorry, Matt.
Sorry, our Matt. And we're spelling that with an R.
Yeah.
Matt. Yeah. Versus hazmat.
Hazmat.
But he's a big fan. I have come to like some of it, but it has to be smooth and not the bite. Oh, you got to follow it really quickly with a lime and salt. No. That's not.
I have a tough time with tequila, period, because that was the first thing I ever drank and got sick on.
Oh,
literally both at the same time. And so anytime I even smell tequila, I'm like, ugh. Doesn't mean I don't drink it. Oh, yeah, still. Doesn't mean I don't drink it occasionally. I did work in a Mexican restaurant, and I had a really good. The bar manager was really no, it wasn't Chi-Chi's.
Sorry,
it was a really good bar manager who happened to be Mexican.
Okay,
a Mexican American, I should say, and he knew his tequilas, and which is why he was the bar manager. At a Mexican restaurant, higher end Mexican restaurant. And so he would teach me about the difference. And I will say, I will sip a good añejo. Okay. I'm not afraid of that. But once you get into the Blancos, I'm like, ugh.
Well, some of these.
I have trouble.
And I will say and this being the silver or whatever they call it, the 70, and I think it's Don Pablo, something like that.
Don Julio.
But I remember it might be Julio. I'm sorry. But either one. It's the 70 designation. It's delicious, but the bottle is approximately $70. And so I think I thought it was. Isn't that what they call it on the label? No, that's also the price. And So I mean, it's delicious, but it tastes kind of like nothing. It's fine.
That's the worst.
It's not the worst.
It is because if you drink too much of it, you're gonna not want it anymore.
It's not like Wapatuli where you mix everything together and this is Kool-Aid, and no, it's not. You will be poking your nipples out at some point very soon. You're gonna get piercings. So anyway, but that stuff is really good, but it's too expensive for my taste. This is more in the 40 range, which is my max. And it's weird. I have my maxes on stuff. A bottle of red wine, $20 is typically the top I will go.
Isn't it amazing? Yeah.
And we found some great Chardonnays, some whites for Bogle is one of my favorites. And Bogle is $10 a bottle.
Yeah.
And it's just a nice Chardonnay if you're looking for something with fish or whatever. Here we are. We're doing, hey, welcome to the PoddiMouths wine review. There is also a good Rodney Strong. Also one of my favorites, like $15 for a nice Chardonnay. You can't go wrong with a Rodney Strong. That's just what I've heard. And so, there are some good ones, but you have limits at certain things.
Yep.
So
I will spend a little bit more on bourbon than I will on most other things. Like I will not spend a lot on vodka. You still have a limit, though. Definitely. Yeah, I won't go. I usually it's a higher limit, but I usually don't go over $50 for a bottle of bourbon.
Yes.
And but vodka, I won't go over $20 for a vodka.
That's why you get crappy vodka all the time.
Well, I don't drink all that much vodka now. But a good gin, I won't go over $30 with a gin. But wine,
well, it depends. Are you talking about 750? If it's 750 milliliter, then I'm with you.
That's the other thing.
Aviation and I'm fine with
Hendrix.
I like that.
Something,
Hendrix is a totally different flavor from a Tanqueray or an Aviation. They're just completely different and fun to, check them out. But vodka is a little different.
Rubbing alcohol is rubbing alcohol.
Whatever. But there are some that I judge vodka based on the next day.
Yes, that's exactly really it. That really is.
Judge vodka. Yes.
But though you drink vodka martinis, we don't drink vodka martinis very often. Usually, it's mixed into something, and that mix takes a lot of flavor out of that vodka. So the flavor doesn't necessarily. I don't want to say it doesn't matter because it does, but it doesn't matter. And to be perfectly honest, Jen has a gluten sensitivity, and who doesn't nowadays? Yeah. But Jen has a gluten sensitivity, so we look for potato vodka. And you're usually limited to
Chopin.
Yes, exactly. But Chopin is too expensive. So there's another one that's it's a Polish brand, actually. I was going to say Russian, but it's not Russian, it's Polish. That's a lot cheaper. It's like for the big bottle, it's like $20. It's like, and that's just fun.
Which scares me.
Will not make a martini out of it.
Then that's
I will
fine.
do. Now, if I'm going to make martinis, it'll be Chopin.
Yeah. Sure.
I will spend that extra money for that. But it really just bourbons. I want a bourbon that I could drink in an old fashioned and be good, or I can drink straight.
Yes.
And it'll still be good.
Yep.
And that's why the more expensive ones. Exactly.
Yeah. We are giving so much good advice. Mm-hmm. And it's unsolicited advice.
We should
is
have
the best
a podcast.
I don't think so.
Folks, if you think we should have a podcast, head up to PoddiMouths.com. Put your comments. Put your comment. Oh, this is one I heard recently.
A podcast.
If you're listening to this either on Spotify or YouTube and watching, you can on Spotify, you can swipe up and actually leave a comment, but you can also leave a comment on the video in YouTube.
Yes.
Let us know if we should start a podcast.
Maybe we should
name it. I don't know. What's a good name for a podcast? PoddiMouths?
PoddiMouths?
I think, let me see if I can get the URL for that. Let me see. PoddiMouths.com.
Already taken.
Already taken. It is already
Dang
taken.
it.
So, but you know what? Why don't you guys head up to PoddiMouths.com and see if that
buy some of their merch.
Buy some of the merch.
Just to be safe.
Just because you know what? We might go up and buy that URL and
Don't
make
you
sure
love happy hour PoddiMouths.
I do really. I really do. I Happy Mouths or Happy Mouths.
Happy
Mouths.
That's a different podcast altogether. No, that's a different one. all together.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
But join us at happymouths.com.
I'd tune into Happy Mouths.
I'm going to try to get that URL right now.
Right now.
Actually,
I will. Let me see if it's available. Happy. I hate to
spell it with an
goes.
I, Happi. Yeah, it's in your search history, not mine.
Yeah. Let's see. Well, that might actually work if we can't get the happy.
No.
Hold on.
Oh my gosh.
It's going to be.
Ladies and gentlemen, real time. You are going to learn about the availability of Happy Mouse.
Happy Mouse is available.
All right. Can't
for
believe you're
4,000 for
Oh,
4,999.
Try it with an I.
All right.
Try it with an I. No one ever thought of that before. This one's available for 29 cents.
1 cent for the first year.
That's too much.
It is.
Happy Mouths.
Happy Mouths.
I think that's our next round of. I don't know what we're going to talk about during Happy Mouths, but
Happy Mouths.
We'll go right from PoddiMouths to Happy Mouths.
HappyMouths.com.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
you better buy it.
We might have to buy Happy Mouths.
I don't know how to explain it to my wife. What's this Happy Mouth? Honey, nothing, I swear.
Folks, do not try to go up to Happy Mouths until after I buy it. But please don't do that. No.
But
I'm not buying it.
I would try. I don't know. I might. I would try to check out their merch store, though.
This one I'm definitely.
If we should expand on Happy Mouths, make sure you let us know. I think it would be funny.
Let us know in the comments.
Hear your thoughts.
I would hate to. I'm going to have to hit the toggle that says this is not made for people under the age of 18 on any of the platforms that we listen to. But if you want to see me toggle that or have it, whether or not I did toggle that, go ahead and head up to any of the other platforms that you listen to podcasts on and download this one and all of the other previous episodes. John, it has been a lot of fun as usual.
Always fun.
I'm going to go get another drink. How about you?
I wish you would. I think I'll probably cash it in for. I'm just kidding. I'm going to make one too.
Sounds good. We will see you again next week, folks. Hopefully, unless we can't. But
we get injured somehow.
Yeah,
come on.
Seriously, we will probably injure our rotator cuff when we're checking ourselves for a new hernia.
Good chance. Good chance of that.
Yeah.
All right. Good to see you, pal.
Good to see you too. Talk to you soon.
See you.